So, here with Rodney Martin. I'm going to try to scroll when I bring up your reading. I'm going to try to scroll quickly past your
Hello,
birthday.
is this thing on? Is this thing? Oh, Raven, can you hear me? Is this thing on?
We're in
This is
the
why I don't do video, Raven.
we're in the
Hi.
metaverse. The scary place.
Yes.
I'd rather be in the universe. Yeah, but I can work Zoom easier than anything else. I can't be fancy podcaster like you. I can work Zoom. I can click here and click there and be like, okay.
I know. I can't even. You're lucky that you sent me a link. I didn't have to do anything else. I was like, damn it, a passcode. You know I'm 56. We don't like passcodes at 56, I think.
Well,
Is this thing on? Can you hear me?
like the passcode thing, by the way. I'm a 1970s kid too. Like you, they make you make all these passcodes. They have to have all these certain things, and so that you're never gonna freaking remember the damn thing. So then you have to write it down, and it's like, how is this
Well,
secure
mine
at all?
expand. My passcodes will start with, and I don't want to give them
Oh
too
no,
many away.
don't.
But it'll start with like eat shit, and then it's eat shit and die, and then it's eat shit and die today. So then it's just longer. So you can tell how long I've used the passcode by how long I'm typing. If it's like 2 minutes, it's like ugh, I've had this thing forever. It's my net zero account. Ah,
Has it gotten as long as like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
it has not gotten that long yet.
Okay,
I
well,
I, I need my snare drum. Boom, boom.
one of my neighbors, uh, they moved, but when you pull up your Wi-Fi, this has nothing to do with psychic creating people, by the way. But when you pull up the Wi-Fi and you see all your neighbors listed there too, whatever theirs is, there's literally said get your own fucking Wi-Fi. It's like
So
whoever you
um
are, I love you.
and I usually steal mine. I'll try to look up creative ones, but did you ever see the video of the guy that was talking about like rapes in Chicago and he says hide your children, hide your wives.
Yeah, that was a
And
long time ago with the
it was, but
bandana and
so when
yeah.
our oldest went to college, I named her. So she had Wi-Fi in her room, and we had to name the router. So I named it "Hide Your Children, Hide Your Wi-Fi" instead of "wife." And so she was like, everyone would ask, like, whose is that? Like, not that they wanted to get on it, they just thought it was creative. Here at my place, I put like DEA truck number 7 or FBI van 4, just so the neighbors are always wondering what's going down at my house.
I need to come and hang out at your house. I would probably be laughing hysterically the entire time.
I do what I can.
I love to mess with people. It's just fun. Like in a fun way, not a mean way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I agree.
Uh, anyway,
Okay, I'm excited about this. I have never had anything like this done to me. And I'm 56 and I've had a lot of stuff done to me, but I've never had this done to me.
hmm.
I know,
Glad to hear
right?
that. So
Yeah.
you did not contact me for this. I solicited this to you. So
Yes.
just so everyone knows, if you do contact me and pay me for one of these, it gets a lot more detailed because whatever comes up, then I dig into it more until I'm
Right.
told, like, it's not time for you to access that for that person yet or whatever.
Oh,
So,
I probably should have told you don't dig with any of my stuff.
you scared.
Yeah, not really. I know where all the skeletons are buried.
Oh, goodness. So, this is just the homepage to my website. I just threw it in there. I will email this PDF to you when we're done, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. And try to scroll past your birth date. Okay. So if you can hear my dogs crunching bones in the background, people, that's just what happens. Psychics have animals. That's just how it goes. Um, it came up for me. Different things come up for different people, but very conductive crystals or female energy crystals are good for you to use. You're also Libra, so like when you need to like balance out, like Moonstone is really good. That's not on here, but um,
So you're saying it's okay to wear my wife's dresses. You have given me that permission.
and
Is that
spark.
so what do you mean by feminine crystals? I don't
Okay,
understand what that means.
yeah. So very conductive crystals in a certain way. So some of these crystals that I put on here for you are very conductive. So their energy is very high. Like if you've ever, do you have crystals?
I do not currently, no.
Okay. So let me give you an example. Some of these, I don't know if they are on here. So this is just a quartz crystal.
Uh-huh.
This is good for everything, healing, raising your energy, raising your vibrations, all of it. Protection, like quartz crystal is like just the go around everything for everything.
Okay.
Um, this is tiger's eye. It's on there too. This is protection, but it's very high in vibration in that protection. So like once you start to hold crystals, you'll feel the pulse of the energy at the higher vibration. Like I literally have crystallized where lightning has like struck the sand and then made it glass. That is very conductive. Like it's like
Okay.
woo, crazy conductive. So does like different things do different. Like this is moonstone and it's very calming and balancing. It's good for Libras. I have it in my ring, like because I'm a
Okay.
Libra too.
Because
So
you rule.
and uh, so a lot of crystals are like male crystals, and male crystals are like if you see people with like the tower little tower crystal things or rods that are sitting on their
Yeah.
desks and they have a flat bottom, those are
Uh-huh.
always male because they don't have a second bottom to females are conductive, males hold energy. So that's why those
Okay.
are designed to sit on your desk. So like this is male. This is made
Okay.
to hold energy, not to take me somewhere. So this just turned into a whole crystal lesson instead of your reading. But the main
Sorry, I know.
one,
I don't know. I don't know about crystals. This is
no,
all new to me.
okay. So if you go to any metaphysical store, if they're decent enough, they'll have packs already made for you for Libra. They'll know which kinds of crystals are very conductive and flow energy really well. And once you go in there, like don't order them online. You need to go in and like pick them up and like touch them and they'll start to like reach out to you and be like, that's for me. So go in the store, start picking stuff up and feeling it. What does this feel like? What does jade feel like? What does copper feel like to me? What does, rose quartz feel like? Just to see like what grabs you and you'll start to feel it and groove with it and be like, oh yeah, I like this right here. And
Well,
then
I
you'll
used to be where I go to buy my glass pipes. It's a retail shop in Lawrence, Kansas, and I always walk by the crystals to go upstairs to where I shop. And so, but now
you're
I
gonna
have a
stop
reason to
now.
stop. Yeah, so now I have a reason to stop. Yes,
By the
definitely.
way, do you drive an Impala?
I do not.
Sorry, I you said Lawrence, Kansas, and I had to go supernatural. Like it's October. I mean, come on. Aren't we
Yeah,
all
no,
watching reruns of Supernatural right now?
no.
Yeah.
If I wasn't so stoned right now, I would have reached over and hung up on you. But now I know.
Oh,
I'm just kidding, Impala. I'm not an Impala guy.
I'm a car girl, so yeah. But
Oh, that's right, stalker. We won't even go down that
yes.
road.
Oh,
Yeah, I
it
know.
was a good fun
Okay,
time.
uh, let's get
Yeah,
back to my. You taunted me or teased me with alien DNA, which,
I did.
wow, that is not a statement I ever thought that I would say. You teased me with alien DNA, but
Yeah.
so let's
You
get
you
back.
have it.
So uh,
Okay.
so my reading. So I need to go and not order them online. I need to go find the crystals. Okay.
Yes. You need to handle them and just mess around in there and, all that stuff.
And they'll just, so you're saying that so I'm novice, so I don't know anything about this. So
Yep.
you're saying they'll speak to me.
Oh yeah. Like start
So
just
is it better not to know like what to expect? Is it better just to go, oh, can I hold that one and see what kind of feeling I get, or should I know in advance what to expect?
well, like sometimes I go in there for a certain reason for certain things, and other
Hmm.
times I just go in there because I just feel like I don't know, something is needing around me. And like last time I went
I
in
do the
there,
same.
I found purpurite, which I didn't know anything about, and it just called to me. And I literally just walked in the store and just left my mind blank and was just like cruising around and like, what's vibing out. And I was like, oh, what's that? So
That's
yeah,
that's exactly how I do my shopping when I go to the local sex store.
people
I
want
keep
to know.
forgetting I don't have my soundboard. I don't have my bum.
Oh
Sometimes
God.
I have a reason. Sometimes
People
I
are
just
gonna
need to.
think you're the biggest creeper if you're just like vibing out with
Well,
everybody in the sex
well,
shop,
no, no,
like
no, no.
da, da,
By
da,
the
da,
end of
da,
this,
da, da,
you're
da.
gonna tell everyone whether I'm the biggest creeper. So I'm excited.
Just kidding, you're not. I would not be
Oh,
giving you a
thank
psychic reading if you were a creeper. No. Yeah.
dear bro. Sorry, I didn't see anything. Don't contact me.
Yeah. He is not a
So
creeper, people, I promise. Okay.
not yet. You need to add yet to every statement.
Oh no.
I'm
So
kidding. Okay.
Fimo crystals, I put this one on there specifically for you. I have one. This is a Vogel crystal. This will be very important for you specifically to have. This was actually made by a scientist. The cuts on it and the way that they're cut and how many cuts, it resonates a certain way.
Okay.
So you can Google the Vogel. I have an article on my website about it specifically if you want to just go there.
And you're saying that that
But
crystal is actually created, or the cuts are created, or the
the
crystal is?
the cuts are created and they have to be done
Okay.
by hand. There are
Okay.
different sizes of them. Mine is called a 24/6 because I do not need to clear traumas and things like that. You get the lower cuts like the 12/6s and things like that if you're dealing with traumas or want to clear emotions. Like I use mine to literally go places. So,
Okay.
um it's female, as you can see. It's got two ends. So, these are
Okay.
female. Females are conductors, so they're held in your left hand. If you have any other kind of crystal, it is in your right hand. It is male. So they hold the energy, these conduct the energy.
Okay.
There's a little basics on crystals, but like I said, you can go there and read about it and check it out.
Okay.
But
Thank
it'll
you.
be a good crystal for you because it's super conductive. And when you hold it at both ends and then with your fingers in the middle. And while you're meditating, it really just takes you there. So
Okay.
there you go. And I normally pick up on people's spirit animals, and I did yours. And so I put a little link in there. I don't know if it works, but you're a sandhill crane, but specifically a blue one. Um,
Hmm.
so my name is Raven Willow for a reason. Like I'm a raven. I can call ravens to me. I'm like I go to Yellowstone and sit in the pack of ravens and like they're all my best friends. Like my some of my psychic abilities have to do with my spirit animal. I have a bit of native stuff in me, plus past lives things of natives in Africa and different. So I'm very familiar with animals and spirit animals. So that just always comes up for me. If you were like
Right.
a live client, I would be drawing this for you, giving it to you because
Okay.
I'm an artist. But yeah, so if you don't know about this animal and you haven't ever thought about having a spirit animal, I
I
would
have
start
not.
looking into it because their traits you'll find are similar to you in ways.
Now, before you go any further, this is what I'm thinking. Say, I always thought like as a spirit animal, I would be like some sort of alpha, like a lion or something. They're not king of the jungle because lions don't live in the jungle, but I thought that that's what I would be. But now that you've mentioned a type of bird, I love it because like if a lion ran up to someone and shit on him, you'd be like, that lion is weird. I would have thought they would have bit them. But if a bird shits on someone, no, they'd be like, that's bad luck for the person. And I have a list, not an extensive list, but I have a list of people that if I ever turn into a bird, specifically now a blue crane, I'm going to shit on them, just so you know.
That will be massive size shit, by the way, because they eat fish. So bravo,
Well,
go big or go home.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm not gonna come up and
you
be.
know,
I don't
if
want them to go, "What is this?" I
yeah,
want them to go, "Oh my God, what is this?" And it smells even worse than I imagined.
yeah. So if you look up things about cranes, especially the male version of the crane, like they'll kick your fucking ass. Like they could be testy little bastards,
Well,
but
in the
they're
position that this slide is in, he looks like the Karate Kid, like he's
yeah,
doing like the Ralph Macchio.
yeah,
Like, oh, that was called the crane, wasn't it? Oh my
yeah.
gosh, you were tying some stuff together. Remember, I'm high. It's gonna take me whoop a little bit to get
I
there.
am not Mr. Miyagiing you. No, no,
Okay.
no. You don't need to wax anything. I hope
Oh
not.
my gosh.
Maybe you
I
do.
was just about to say, if anyone's gonna Mr. Miyagi me, it's gonna be my wife. Boom, boom. And I
So
guarantee there will be wax involved in that. You're welcome.
I don't want to know. You could treat those
Is
burns
it
later.
legal? Is it legal as an empath psychic to laugh during this? I feel like there should be some guidelines that you should follow.
Like
I'm just kidding.
I am literally just myself. So I just roll with whatever I roll with.
Okay.
And when I groove with people, I just groove with people. And literally, my most favorite thing to do in life is literally hysterically laugh at things. Like am just a laugher. So just like we grooved on your podcast. Like
We did.
I already knew. Yeah. So it's just like whatever. Yeah.
I have a quick
We're good.
question about this blue crane though, because I can't see his lower half. This isn't like a Donald Duck type thing, but like where I'm wearing pants. Like if when I finally see this whole slide, I don't have like weird pants on my skinny legs or anything, do I?
Well, if you want to rock some glitter ruse and with your blue crane, you go right ahead.
I don't even know what sound a crane makes, but
I
I'm
have
sure
no
I'm
idea,
I'm
but they're
gonna find
big.
out what it is.
They're big, really beautiful animals, really majestic animals. And once you read about them, it'll start to click in your head a little bit
Okay.
more. So actually, I did look up the sound they make, and you can
Oh no.
Google it. Well, one of the sounds. It's a type of clicking sound. Um, so it should sound very familiar to you. I get that you hear a lot of clicking sounds because of you have a lot of mantas being in you, and that's how they talk. And that's how that bird speaks too. It was like clicking. So
Man, there's so much that's been tied today. Now, once again, I've smoked a lot of weed today, so that's probably having an impact. But I am learning so much weird stuff today that it's weird because I feel it like in me. Like when you're talking, it's like I feel something in me moving or not moving like physically, but like a part of my soul or a being moved.
because if you're not resonating with this at all, and if you're like this like then I want to know. You know what I mean? Or if
No,
it's like super like this is cool, like this is real, then I want to know. You know, because
well, so I
you know,
I recorded a different podcast with someone earlier today, and they were about abductions and experiences and things like that. And they were talking about their experiences, him and his wife, that the lights would always get turned on at their house, like every single light, even lights that you had to use a pull switch. And I stopped because I got this overwhelming feeling, because that happened at one of our houses. And when we talk about it, we've always referenced that our house was haunted. We were like, how I go, the lights would, like, on certain nights, all the lights would just come on, every single
That's
light in the house. And so it's weird because when he said that today, I'm like, well, I experienced that. I attributed it to something else. And so I had this just feeling that kind of washed over me. And then when you're saying this type of stuff, it's there's just a lot of things that are coalescing for coming together for me today that are pretty weird and cool, weird and
yeah.
cool.
So start paying attention to the clicking sounds.
Okay.
Because you'll hear them. Um, so then I got to your gifts. So you're a healer, a light worker, an energy worker. You could work through portals and energy fields. So you know energy very well.
Okay. And I think that everyone I've ever worked for before would say I was a light worker, because I put in barely any effort at any of my jobs. Oh, is that not what you were talking about? Just kidding. Light worker, get it? I need my snare drum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, uh, but you're easily can harness energy easily to heal yourself and other people. So you are an empath, but unlike me, I have to call in for backup and reinforcements because I'm such a strong empath that I have like this army of like, my guides, but then I have like my human people too, sometimes that I have to call. You're able
Right.
to heal yourself. And it's the mantis thing. Like I literally call on the mantis people to help heal me. That's what they do.
Okay.
So, um, so I also got that you could feel the vibration that every single human is running at. So, whoever you're around, you can feel their vibration. If it's really
So
low or if it's really high.
so you and I talked about this briefly about I've always had an uncanny ability to read people, not like, oh, they're in a good mood or a bad mood, but
No,
literally
specific.
whether they are, yes, whether they're a good person, a bad
Yes.
person, and I don't give a shit whether someone's good or bad, because people are good and bad and you just deal with what you deal with. But I just attributed that I just said I could read people, and I never gave it any more thought than that until I met you. And then a lot more, because I say
Da,
on my
da,
podcast
da.
all the time, listen to listen to what people say. They'll tell you what they exactly who they are. And so once I
Yeah.
met you, I started being more in tune to, I'm just more, and so that's what you're meeting. That's when I'm say I read people, I'm actually feeling their vibrations, is what you're saying. Is that correct?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
like, I'm such a strong empath, and I'm a raven and past life things and whatever. I'm everything of everything. So, literally, if I wanted to concentrate hard enough, I could just go into someone's mind and just peel it apart and know everything about that freaking person.
Right.
But I don't do that because that's intrusive and I like, that's not how you work yourself in the psychic world if you want to like
Right.
heal people and, you know, you don't invade people. But like I have that. Like, but you have the ability to literally based on like you'll literally feel the vibration and based on that you know everything that's going on with that person.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's so amazing. And that this journey that I'm beginning with you, I mean, just talking this out, because I literally say, listen to people, and what you're saying now, I mean, I've been saying for years. I mean, it feels like I just know whether someone's good or bad. And I always say, well, I read people, and a lot of times it'll seem like I'm manipulating them, but it's just I feel like I can read them so well. I just know what their responses are going to be,
Yeah, you
and
know
I'm
it
I'm
before
sure
they
that it
say it.
is a form of manipulation. I'm sure, because I'm looking out for my own well-being. It is manipulation,
Yeah.
but I'm basically using themselves against them because I can read them so well.
Yeah, but if you're not doing it for something destructive, then, you know.
Uh, in the future, yes, I will not do that I won't be destructive with, yeah, I can, that's one of my, I can go into dick mode and be, I mean, because I can read people, so I know I can tell fairly quickly what will hurt someone and take them to their knees if I need to. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot of side feelings, so like if I do that to someone and I feel like they need it, then it doesn't bother me. I just go on about my life. So I haven't always used that to the best of my ability, but I haven't really known. I just thought I didn't see it as a gift really. I didn't see it as anything more than I was reading people, and if I wanted to use that to my advantage, I would.
Yeah,
But I
like
see it more as now as
that's
a
the thing
gift.
about any gifts. Like you can turn them around and use them for bad, but it also affects you bad.
Yes.
So,
Right.
you know, like
So don't
it's
is what
more
you're
like
saying. Got it.
pick your battles. Like if
Right.
some douchebag just doesn't deserve your freaking time, then don't waste your time arguing with him and, whatever. But there's
Right.
like I'm a very blunt person. I'm a Libra, but I was also born on an Aries moon, so like I can go raging bitch if I have to on somebody. I don't unless like literally you're that person and you need to be put in your freaking place. But when I do it, I don't do it with like emotion or anger. And I'm such a history nerd and just all this stuff. So when I argue back with somebody, I'm literally like calm, but like stern in my voice. And it's like facts, 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 facts. And then I'm like, okay, done. Bye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like not part of my life anymore. Yeah.
Sounds very familiar. Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then once you start to raise your vibration, our ego's part of it. So you got to work on that a little bit. You'll start to see through to the fourth dimension. This is a future thing for you. I have it, but because you have so much alien DNA, so like I put, you can't enter now, but you will soon. So as you
Okay.
work on yourself, like you're gonna go there. You'll see the
Well,
fourth
and will
dimension.
it be something that I'll just be like, and this is when I met my, I don't know exactly. I met my wife. She went home with me. The next day, same day, whatever, I told someone that I was going to marry that woman. I mean, I knew. I mean, there was
Yeah.
the universe was telling me that's why I needed. Is it going to be something that profound with me when I reach that point? Will it be, or
Yes.
will I be like, will I have to call you and say, "Hey, Raven, this is going on," and you're like, "Hey, dum dum," or so it will be that profound? I'll just be like an aha moment for me.
It'll be both. Like people have to call
Okay.
me. Like it turns into a network of people. Like I have my network of people too. Like what the fuck is that? Or something messed me up or like yeah, things are gonna happen and you're gonna be like,
Okay.
yeah. But like
Okay.
as this happens to you and you start to ascend, like you'll notice you'll start to feel off because all of the things that you're doing in like current repetitions and things that just aren't working, but you're still staying in them, they're going to start to make you feel even more uncomfortable. And like, I pretty much feel like your diet is already on track because I got like a paleo or like plant based diet is best for your body. Um, but yeah, so, but
So
you'll start
I
to
have a
feel different.
very, so, and I don't, I couldn't even tell you what a paleo. I don't. So I don't. I've never in 56 years. Well, I will say maybe a couple times I've had to worry about my weight, and it's generally being on the underweight side. I have always just I eat when I'm hungry, and I if paleo is meat and potatoes, that's it. I always say the only thing better than meat and potatoes is more meat and potatoes. So I am very, but my diet is I eat when I'm hungry. I mean, I
Yeah.
literally will go 2 or 3 days without eating. So my diet, that's one thing I've never worried about. I
Yeah.
feel in tune with that because I can tell, I'll go in and not weighing myself for a month and be able to say what I weigh because I feel I'm that in tune with my body.
And it it'll change and shift a little bit as you do this too. Like
Okay.
I have the same thing, but well, I have it for good reasons and bad reasons. Like I go days without eating because I just don't need to, but I have days that I go without eating because I'm an empath and everything gets held in my solar plexus and I have pancreatitis and so then I can't eat. So
Right.
I have it both ways. So like and most of my like I will eat chicken and fish and I push it to eat that. So I eat a lot of vegetables and fruit and you know grains and right like I just
Not in
I'm not
my
a big
not
meat eater.
I will actually I will fight someone about a potato being a vegetable because if we classify if it's not a vegetable, I can say I don't eat fruits and vegetables. The closest I get to
It's a
fruits,
complex carbohydrate is what it is.
yeah. Well, I will say I the closest I get to fruits is I love Starburst, and they are fruity flavors, so I think that counts. So
You're tasting
let's
the
move on.
rainbow. Yeah.
I'm
So
tasting something.
if it starts to shift your diet, don't be surprised
Okay.
if you start to crave different things and yeah, don't be surprised. But try to stay healthy is all I'm saying. Like the more junk you pollute your body with, like the harder this is going to make it for you because
Okay.
your body wants to be healthy in order to do this. And I eat my junk food too, and then I pay for it later, but whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Even healthy munchies. I got healthy munchies. You got popcorn. you know, we can do that. Okay. So, like I said, if this was a paid reading, I'd be digging into these past lives a heck of a lot more. But I got two very specific ones, and they lived because I'm such a history nerd. I know their lives pretty dang well. So when I was going, I'll get to your Akashic Records, it's coming. But when I was
Okay.
going through them, I was seeing like your alien DNA, and there's a lot of Nordic in you, which is why you can be mantis, but blend into humanity just fine and look like a person instead of a mantis. Um, but you did have a Viking past life, which a lot of Nordic people I have found just have had. Um,
Uh-huh.
because if you think about the way the Vikings lived their lives, like they were builders, they were explorers, they were conquerors, they got kind of violent and brutal sometimes, and that's not a Nordic way. But the other things like the shipbuilding and the exploring and going new places and sustaining themselves, and that was part of Nordic culture. So I specifically got that you were Eric the Red, and he was the one that founded Greenland, which nobody lives on because it's like colder than fuck. But there's like one little area that you can like
Right.
live on Greenland or something. Anyway, that was him, and that was you once upon a time claiming Greenland. So I always just say with past lives, anything that you might be even if you're not a history nerd like me, anything you're interested in history wise, even if it's like pop culture or whatever it is history wise, it probably has something to do with a past life.
Okay,
So
I don't know if you can see my face because I see you and I see your screen, but like my jaw was dropping as you were saying that because once again it's something that because I've never had a reading, I've never even before I met you, if someone would have asked, I would have, if they would have said, "Do you want a free read?" I probably would have said, "No, I'm good." Until I mean, until I got to know you first, and so it's
Yeah.
very easy to say yes when we discuss this. But I mean, once again, this is multiple times today, and even multiple times in just our short while together right now, that I actually feel like something like inside, like moving, like I don't know. Here's what I'm feeling. This is the best way to describe it. I'm an adopted child. I was adopted, and I met
Thank God,
my
because my last page on this, I was like, oh my fucking God, if he is not adopted, I am going to make an ass out of myself. Okay, moving
so
on.
so yeah so so I'm adopted, and I met my biological mother, and I've met my half brother and half sister. And I always wondered prior to that, or even knowing if I would ever meet them. I was well into my 40s before I met them.
So you
Um,
did meet your mom,
I always I did.
biological. Okay.
I always wondered whether I would feel something. Like I would be there, like be able to close my eyes and just be like, my mother is close to me. And I didn't have that feeling. I didn't feel, I thought I would feel something inside move. And it's weird because as you're discussing what you're just discussing about past lives, the feeling that I was having was the feeling I thought I would have when I met my biological mother. So
So
I just
you're,
think that's weird because I mean, because the feeling I'm having right now is what I kind of, and I kind of just thought, well, maybe this is what I'll feel like. I can't explain it. There's not a word, but there's something inside, but it has to do with a relationship to something that I guess has happened to me here, a birth or a rebirth. And so I think that it's just weird because I've been together with my wife for 27 years, and Bobby will say that she won't have heard me talk this way before about feelings or stuff. That's just, I'm
yeah.
probably on the spectrum, so that's not exactly how I process stuff. So she would think that what I'm feeling and what I'm describing right now is very odd for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, do you feel like that you would resonate with this person? Like you could see yourself being there, like you could feel this, or is it just like,
I
nah, I don't think
You
so.
know, I mean, I don't discount it. I mean, it's not like I'm having flashbacks where I'm raping and pillaging
No, no,
and
no.
having
But
red,
like,
long, beautiful hair or something. I mean, I don't have. It's not anything like that, but it's just like a feeling of as you're saying that. I've always wondered as a Christian whether I went to like the Holy Land where whether I would feel any like, oh, here are the steps where Jesus was, and this is where this happened, and I always wonder, and as you're speaking now, those feelings that I always theorized about or wondered whether I would actually have in those places or meeting these people, I I didn't have them in those situations, but as you're talking and saying these things, I'm feeling it. I feel like I'm having those feelings about this information.
okay, good. I was just like to check because, you know, it, you just, I'm a perfectionist. I'm too hard
And it looks like
on
he's
myself.
wearing a skirt, and I'm totally down with wearing a skirt.
Well, the Vikings, they just kind of wore
And I know that the audience
everything.
is going to ask, there will be nothing underneath my skirt.
Dude, rock the Scottish, man.
Yeah.
Because here you go with your Scottish.
Oh my gosh. Okay, go.
So you were Robert the Bruce. If you've ever seen the movie Braveheart, you'll know who Robert the Bruce is. Although Mel Gibson's movie, it's Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
Butcher's history, like always. But he was Galaic, so he was the King of Scots. So this was back when they still wore their tartans or plaid, the tribe
Yes.
that the Highlands and all of that. So and the tribesmen and so he pretty much fought the war against, the asshole English king that was trying to invade Edward II. If you want to talk about douchebags of douchebaggery, that guy was one of them. You want to talk about little penis syndrome on the epic scale, Edward II was one of them.
You
So,
know, it's weird that you talk about Scottish. So we're gonna go back to me being adopted. So when I was adopted, 1967, state of Florida had closed adoptions, but they gave like a little bit of background about my parents, mother and father. And my background was German on my dad's side, and then Scottish, French, Polish. Oh, I want to say English, but I'm not sure that was right. But it was weird because of those five, which would have made me an eighth Scottish, I always gravitated towards Scottish, like kilts,
yes.
like wearing
Yes.
kilts, being drawn to a certain tartan, like
Yes.
the certain color and things.
Look at the
Learning,
colors and
actually learning about,
learn
yeah,
what you're attracted to, because I bet it was your clan.
yeah, and because and like learning about the sport, and so actually learning about Scott, and it's weird that you mentioned that because like I would have been half German, and then the other half would have been what an eighth each of the other, and so I was combined five things, but only an eighth Scottish. But I always felt, from what I was told at least, I always felt the most drawn for whatever reason. Maybe it was the allure of wearing a kilt. I was always drawn towards that. So I am definitely going to look into those colors because that's once again very very interesting.
Just just remember, well, at least chicks that like dudes, we like the kilts.
Yeah,
I even had a Scottish guy on the phone once. It was when I was working somewhere. I was like, "Can you just like keep talking on the phone?"
I thought you were going to say, "Can you tell me what you're wearing?" Which would be highly inappropriate
Yeah, I
unless
would
it
have
was
got fired
before.
for that.
Well, unless it was before 1999, because
Yeah,
before 1999, pretty much anything
yeah,
went. What are you
I know.
wearing? So yes,
Yeah,
okay. So that's funny, but no, that's
yeah,
just odd that I was always drawn, even though it was a small minority of what my makeup, at least what I was told, that I was always drawn towards the Scottish portion of it.
yeah. So if you like start just researching a little bit of this history and just open your mind to it and like try to picture it, it'll start to click with you more and more, and you'll start to see it. Like I've seen my past lives. So you'll
I
start
want
to
you to
connect
know
with
that
them.
this reading has given me a whole podcast episode because I have always said that I am a full head of hair away from being just a ruthless like person or something, or a leader or something. And
Yes.
now maybe I won't be ruthless, but I was a leader, but it totally makes
Yes.
sense now.
Yes. And even back here with your traits, that was part of it. So like and by the way, while we're talking, you did bring up Jerusalem, but I just want to know your thoughts. And I know this is a TV show, and I'm not talking about what these guys are doing there, whatever. Just vibe it out
Oh,
for a
please
second.
say that I was. Please say that I was Abraham. If I'm the leader of the three major religions on the face of the planet, oh, that makes so much
Uh,
sense.
yeah, that's not gonna
I'm
come
not.
from me because I don't
Oh,
like
dang it.
Christianity. But
Okay.
okay. No,
Okay.
how do you feel in history or like resonance vibrating with you, like anything Knights Templar or
Uh,
Oak Island
well,
or Portugal or
so,
Spain?
oh my gosh. I don't see. I don't know how much of this I've said out loud to the universe, because then the Akashic record that something's nabbed it, or a UAP or a UFO's nabbed my information, or the
No, it's just
government.
me. Just
So
me
it's
and weird
because
me.
So one of the places, because I'm 56, and as we talk about retiring, my wife and I talk about going overseas, being expats, living somewhere else. And Portugal is top on the list.
Okay.
So I mean,
There
which
is
is
the
really weird
most
because neither one of us
ancient
speak Portuguese.
ancient Knights Templar sites, caves with their drawings, but carvings.
Uh-huh.
And they're in the millions. Like it is in Portugal, and it is directly
Interesting.
linked to Oak Island. So, yeah, you might want to see that if you ever get a chance to go to Portugal.
And the Templar Cross, which has a more official name, which I can't think of, is has been something that I have often considered tattooing on my body for whatever reason. And there's no reason. I'm not Catholic, which they were more in line with the
Yeah.
Catholic Church, I believe. So, but I mean, I was always I forget the Cross of Lorraine, maybe is what it's. But the Templar's Cross, that's one thing that I've thought in the past about tattooing on my body. So that's also odd. The that
Yeah.
you found that, and I've had that thought cross my mind.
So you definitely lived, and it is still in you to this day to like live an explorative, like journeyful, even if you're not like conquering lands or defending something, but like that kind of life. You wouldn't be happy being like a stationary kind of person, just
Right.
like never going anywhere, or seeing anything, or experience people and things and places and whatever. Yeah. Like go and see and do and yeah, for sure. Okay, well we got Knights Templar. That's not in here, but that came up. Okay. So
Man, once again, I just feel something in my chest. I don't know what it is. Once again, I'm 56, so it could be medical. I don't know.
well, it's probably your heart chakra getting a little blast of like, okay,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so you were adopted, so this was covered in fuzzy, but there were ETs at your house or hospital or something or the other when you were born. They changed the path of your life to benefit you, and you have had many visitations and many visitors throughout your life. It is still happening now in your dreams, especially in your dreams, because right now that's the only way they can reach you.
You
But
know, it's funny because when I tell my wife that I feel like I'm in multiple universes. Like I feel like when I go to sleep, when I slumber here, that I'm elsewhere. Because I'll wake up and I'll have bruises and things. And it even happens when my wife's not around, so I can't blame her anymore for the bruises. But it's just it's weird because and I'll wake up and I'll be even more exhausted than before I went to bed. Like I was doing something, like I was communicating, doing something while my body was sleeping. My actual being was still doing something else. I felt
yeah,
like I always feel like when I'm sleeping here that my body's still doing other things, or
they
my
say you
being
have
is doing other things.
marks on you when you wake up.
Sometimes, I mean,
What do they
I've
look
had
like?
bruises. Um, I mean, the occasional thing looks like a maybe like an alien implant or something, and sometimes there's a low grade hum. Sometimes they blink and people in black show up every once in a while and they go, "We need to talk to you, sir." I'm just kidding about all that. I'm really high. Did I mention that?
Yes, but
No, but I
you're
mean, every
talking to
once in a while I have
somebody
like
that sees all kinds of stuff, so I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Like if you
no, but
literally
I
told
mean,
me a
I
vampire came to your house, I'd be like, okay, well, let's talk about that.
oh no, that's my worst. That's my worst nightmare. And I mean, and it's
But
not the immortality thing, it's that they can't go out in the sun because I still wear a Speedo. So I am out in the sun, and there's no way that if there were vampires on the face of the planet, I would never go out. Oh my gosh. No. Vampires are the worst. If there's any vampires that are watching your show, they should stop because you don't need vampires watching your show. I don't know how you feel about that, I'm just a guest, and I apologize if I speak out of turn, but the vampires.
There are vampires. They're called energy vampires. Sometimes they could take the form of
I think I work with some
narcissists,
of them.
but they
I think
do
I
suck
work with a
people's
couple of them.
energy. Some people
Yeah.
are very aware that they're energy vampires, and so they'll actually like have donors to help them replenish their energy because they realize that's something about them. And then you have other people that are just assholes. But
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay.
So you have many visitors, and the more you open yourself up to them, the more you'll just notice them all the time. And, you know, lights and whatever. Um, yeah. So they changed the path of your life, and it was very specific because, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong when I get down to it about your birth mom, but and this is part of like your past lives on Earth, you know, how you became. So you've got Andromedan. So you helped them in the universe move around and become nomadic because there were wars in the universe. There are a bad faction of aliens, and I won't even get into those little assholes right now. But there were wars, and
Nobody wants to be in a little asshole.
yeah.
You just
So,
you said you don't want to get into a little asshole right now. See, I need my snare drum. It's not the same if I don't have that bump bump.
dude, like,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
they're the top of the just like, wow. They're the cause of all anything negative ever in the world. Whether it just be some petty little envy thing you have
Right.
to I'm going to blast you with an atomic weapon, to
Wow.
demons, to whatever. That's them. So, anyway, a lot of alien races had to relocate and become nomadic. They moved to other star systems like Sirius or Orion, and it basically became like an America. It was like a melting pot of just all kinds of aliens getting along, and some didn't, and there were wars and different things. But a lot of aliens became nomadic, and their ships are literally like just like living, functioning biospheres that you know sustain their entire life and whatever. So you were
Right.
a part of that. Um, you're a part of the Lyra people too, but I don't have them on here. I don't think those are the ones that look like cats. That one's very prominent in my alien races. But you're Octurian too. So whenever I get somebody that's Octurian, I it takes me right to the Andromeda galaxy. So there's Andromeda star system, which is who
Uh
these
huh.
people are. And then there's Andromeda galaxy, which is basically where everything in our galaxy started. We were linked at one time, the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxy with like a superhighway, whatever you want to call it. So that's how our existence was created. Um, so the Octurians, they're very their society is very they've reached the point of evolution to where emotional things like they're above emotions and just pretty much like zen all the time. So when I've had contact with them, they come across as very brash because they're just above emotions, and so they're just very direct, but they're not, but they do care. It's very weird. It's hard to explain.
Is it
But
almost like someone who's autistic? I mean,
probably,
they just don't see, because that's one thing, that I feel like people have too many. They bring their feelings into everything. And there are
yeah,
times for feelings, but there are times where, if you see someone try to clean out the closet, they'll have the most ridiculous things of why they won't give a shirt away because it's some emotional passion. They don't need it. and it's some illogical emotional attachment. Like, oh, my daughter gave me that shirt for Father's Day 6 years ago. She has no friggin' idea what she gave me 6 years ago for Father. I get to wear that shirt, and she'd probably go, "Is that a new shirt?" I mean,
Yeah,
so sometimes you attach that, and so I am very much like that, where uh, I don't let what things that need to bother me can bother me, but there are a lot of things I just don't even give the time of day because
yeah,
they're not important for the actual task at hand.
yeah. And like they just, even when they like directly interact with you, it's just they're very like down to the business, what's got to be done. But
Right.
they're they're very caring, but they just have reached the point of they're just above all this emotional stuff because they're all just like in zen and linked with each other in zen. So they
Right.
like, yeah, yeah. And any ET beings, by the way, when you get going with this and start talking to them, they don't like noise. They communicate telepathically. They don't want noise. So
Ah, gosh,
even
that'd be so nice.
even when you meditate and talk to them, it's just always telepathically, and it's always quiet. If it starts to get noisy, they'll go away. And when they enter my environment or come near, like I get a like this weird tickle in my throat that makes me just like kind of cough and wheeze, and it's because I'm taking in their environment.
Right.
So that's a symptom that happens to me. So you'll just have to start to pay attention to things as you know he cruise up.
Right. Okay.
And then you've got some reptilian in you because you're, back here, you're a little battler and all of that. Not all reptilians are bad. The bad ones are called draconians. Um, I've actually had reptilians around me, and they're quite comforting, actually. Um, this one looks like it's ready to kick someone's ass, but like they are from a warring species, and they've had to like learn to evolve, and some of them haven't. So, yeah, they're part of the reason Mars was destroyed. Like, even NASA has literally said Mars was destroyed by nuclear war. So, that was that was them. Venus was destroyed in wars the same way. The shadow planets of Venus. Sorry, there's a planet in between Venus and Jupiter. So there was a lot of wars. Um, and they were kind of part of ripping everything apart. But
Right.
some of them's evolved. And this is not necessarily because you're a Libra, but because I saw it. Like, you're like me, you pretty much have a lot of everything in you because you floated around to different star systems and just, you know. So you do have Venetian in you, like from Venus. Venus is not inhabitable anymore, but it used to be very much like Earth. And these people are just the same as the others. They're very peaceful, want, you know, peace in the universe and good things for Earth. And
Right.
I have some of that in me too. The planet is was very sacred feminine, and Venetians are. I have a lot of this in me because I believe very much in sacred feminine, and I don't like patriarchy system because it throws everything in nature off of balance. If you think about anything else in nature, like some species are a little bit different, but like the females rule the shit and the men take care of the other shit. Like,
Right.
and it's humans, the way we have upset, the balance is off. And so they tried to prevent that from happening here. And they're still trying to prevent it from happening, like raising women. Like, that is their goal. And so if you know
Okay.
anything about Venus and Libras, we've got Aphrodite on our side, and pretty sure you're not in afraid to get in touch with your feminine side. So there you go.
I'm not.
And there's your Nordic people. They look, Scandinavian.
God, I love that hair.
And there's your freaking eyes, get your Nordic eyes. So this mantis fella is very specific to you. He's very specific to me too. But his name is Khan, and he is a comforter. He's a guide. He wants Earth and humans to succeed. He does not want Earth to fail, and we're obviously on a precipice right now. So there's a lot of things going on to help Earth survive and get us out of what's going on. Because if we don't, then there'll be another like great cataclysm and wipe us off the planet because we're going to destroy it. So yeah, he
Okay.
he wants he's aware of all the star seeds who can help this happen. So because you're Mantis, you are even more specifically tied to him. And if you just call for him, he will be there. And when Mantis people have interacted with me to like heal me or touch me, it does feel very prickly. Like you'll feel like something pokey, like electricity kind of a little bit going in your skin, kind of like a tattoo needle ish. Um, but it's them healing you.
Would it be like Skeletor fingers?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking because I always tell my wife when she tickles me that she has Skeletor fingers. So I thought maybe that was her. And she just couldn't tell me or something.
What the crap is a Skeletor finger?
Skeletor from He-Man. Her fingers
Okay.
they're like little like they're I know that the action is tickling, but the reception is not tickling. And the best way, like think of a skeleton tickling you. That like
Okay, there was a
maybe
skeleton
don't
tickling people in He-Man. I never watched this cartoon. What is
no
this
there
creepy
I didn't
cartoon?
watch He-Man. He did I didn't there's a guy named Skeletor, so I'm just using his name and he may or may not have been a skeleton. I don't know. But it sounds right. If you're a skeleton and your name's Skeletor, that like if you're a skeleton and your name Ben, no one's going to be interested in that. If you're a Skeletor, you'd be like, oh, that sounds weird. And he is a skeleton. We should probably pay attention or at least watch out.
Oh gosh,
Would
dang
you stop laughing at me? We are having my reading right now. And I will go mantis.
it.
I
No,
was
they're the
gonna say
good
I would go.
ones.
I was gonna say I was gonna go mantis on your ass, but if I'm gonna go mantis on anyone's ass, it's gonna be my wife's ass. I need my snare drum, boom, boom,
Oh gosh.
and I don't even know what that means. I think
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna figure it out. That's for sure. Okay, I'm a mantis.
Yeah. So get in touch with Khan. How much do you meditate?
Um, quite a bit actually. So
Yeah.
I mean, I spend a lot. I spend a lot of time in thought because, like I say, I except for except for this talk that we're having, almost there's on a normal day, I've had every conversation that I'm gonna have throughout the day. I've already had those in my head. I mean, I've already had every conversation. I know exactly how they'll go. If it goes this way, I know that I've already done. So I spend a lot of time thinking about the future, what's going on currently, um, about myself. It's weird that you mentioned this the clicking sound. So just for the even in the past days, I've had a clicking sound in my right ear, and I always attributed it. I think that maybe a cockroach had crawled in there and laid babies, and I thought that's what the clicking was. But now you're telling me it may be a mantis. So I'm glad that's much better than a cockroach laying babies in my ears. I will tell you that.
Yep. They do the
Yep.
clicky. I
Okay,
can't
the
do it.
clicking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I knew. I wish I could understand it. I mean, I'm gonna say I hear clicking, so now I just how do I understand it? I mean,
You listen.
well,
So you don't need to
it doesn't.
understand the you don't need to understand the clicking. You can just hear it because you're very mantis, so you can hear it. I can't hear that, but
Okay,
I can hear them here. I can hear them speak. They'll talk to you. Well, actually,
Okay.
they don't talk to you. Khan does. Let me reverse that. Khan does, and he's talking to you. But other Mantis people, when you call on them, they're just very job oriented. They're there to help you, fix you, and get the fuck out.
Bastards.
Yeah, they're the fixers, the healers. So, but Khan is very interactive when he knows that people can help the world. So, yeah, that's probably who you're hearing clicking at you.
Okay.
He's like, "Listen to me, bastard! Come on!"
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I keep it's like I'm yelling at my dog. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. I want to be like, use words. Click, 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 click. That doesn't help me.
And see,
Although
but
it
the
would be
good thing,
funny. Maybe he's telling me I should go rob a bank, and if I listen to the click, click, clicking, it's the dialing of the like. I'm opening the vault, click, 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 and then he's like, yeah, and then when he stops, I'm like, that's it. I'm gonna do that.
oh
I
god.
mean, I'm not saying that I'm gonna rob a bank on your show because
So
I would never admit to that, but
next
I'm
thing on
not saying I'm not.
CNN, on Kansas
Yeah,
City, or it's just like,
this guy, this
it'd be
guy was
like this.
arrested. He should be in jail, but we put him somewhere else because he thinks he's a mantis and kept saying click, click, click. I know the combination.
It'll get you out of it. Just kidding. No. But yeah.
Okay.
So this is like a lot that I'm throwing on you, but that's what came to me. So I'm sure like you're gonna have a lot of questions and
I
whatever,
will.
what
And there's a
ifs.
there's a lot for me to digest, and I'm interested in seeing how these feelings that I've had while you've been talking about this and bringing up certain subjects or certain aspects that I seem to find correlation in my life. I'm interested in seeing how these feelings percolate over the next 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, like over
Yeah.
the weekend that we have upcoming, and just seeing how I feel. Cause I'm sure I will reach out to you and be like, okay, I got questions, or this makes sense, or could you make sense of this? So I'm sure that
Yeah.
I will have some questions for you, but I'm very interested in seeing how these feelings percolate over the next short
Yeah.
while.
I am too, because you're gonna want to do a podcast about this.
Yeah.
This is gonna
Yeah.
be fun. But
Yeah. And
yeah,
we'll do a video podcast, since you brought me on video wise. I'm not a big fan of video, but this has been very fun. I'm so glad that you did this because, like I say, I am that guy that if I don't want something, I'll say no. So my regular job, I work in the shoe industry, and we had a vendor there once, but to my I didn't know it was the rep. And my boss goes, hey, do you want a free pair of shoes from this company? I looked at the catalog and I think I laughed and was like, no, because I didn't want something, I didn't care if it was free. I didn't want it to sit in the closet and not use it. And so I would have said before I originally talked to you on the podcast and um, before I met you, and I would have, if someone would have said, I'll give you a free reading, I would have said no. There was absolutely no interest. So I want to thank you for being on my podcast, talking to me, opening my eyes to some things, making this offer to me to invite me to be on here to do the reading. So I'm very appreciative of you. I I feel like I'm just starting a journey of exploration, which
yeah,
ties
you
back into you
totally
said
are.
I'm an explorer, so it
Yeah,
ties in.
you
Yeah,
totally are.
yeah,
And by the way, your wife is your person, so you ain't got anything to worry about there. I don't ever go into
yeah.
people's personal relationships, but if somebody tells me like, yeah, that person's with their twin flame, then I'll let you know.
I mentioned earlier that sometimes I'm void of feelings and I don't think about other things. So I always say that I know that there's a universe, a God. There's no way I end up with my wife if there wasn't something. I know that she's the one for me. And then I never really have this feeling, but every once in a while I'll be like, huh, I wonder if she feels the same way because I mean, we're together after 27 years, but I mean, it was so instantaneous. I mean, there's no
Because
way I
you knew
wasn't.
each other before, and if you wanted me to dig into your past lives together, I could do that too.
Yeah,
But yeah, it
I
was that instant connection, like bam, I know this person.
yeah, and it was crazy. So I a lot of feelings that I guess I knew I had, but I don't visit or see rise to the surface very often. So I'm very appreciative of you doing this and taking the time, spending the time, because I know sometimes I'll control a conversation too. It's the drawback of running a podcast. So I apologize for that. But I really appreciate you, Raven, spending the time with me, explaining all this, because it's very enlightening for me. It does make me look at certain aspects of my life and believe that more of it makes sense now, or I
Yeah,
can see where I can see where maybe maybe these are some of the pieces to the puzzle I work.
yeah, these are definitely just basic pieces of the puzzle.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
like I
awesome.
said, like I can
Yeah.
go deeper. But
Yeah.
your current life, I did get that you went through a very dark time. I didn't dig into it because um this is public and I don't air
Right.
people's that kind of laundry. Um, but I'm so glad that you did say that you are adopted because I picked up that you were adopted and I just picked up and you could tell me if I'm wrong because you said you have met her or talked to her or something.
Right.
But I got that like she was a hippie mom and things basically just didn't go so, you know, love, peace and sex and you know, the 60s it went a dark drug turn there.
On at least the story I have, it wasn't like that, and I do have some verification on that. It was I mean, it's part of my story, and I'm gonna have her on my podcast and talk about it because you and I were Libras. We just passed through our time, so you and I recently had birthdays, and I started thinking about it on my birthday that no one knows my birthday. Like my birthday never means anything to me
Yeah.
because no one has any stories. Like people celebrate it, and my parents that raised me, they always gave me great parties, and they were very happy it was my birthday, but like with our children, we have stories about the pregnancy. We have stories about the day of. Both of them had very unique stories about how we got to the hospital and things. So it was very. So I know a little bit about my story with her, and what she was a secretary at a large a national bank chain, and ended up getting pregnant by one of the presidents, vice presidents of the
Yeah.
bank,
Yeah, I got
and
that. Well, not the
and so
bank
they
part, but
so
wasn't
they made
married,
her
wasn't,
move.
yeah,
Yeah, so they made her move to
yeah.
Florida to have
Put
the
yeah, take
baby,
her away. Yeah.
and
I got
and
that.
then I found out who I do know who my birth father is, and I reached out to a what would be a sibling on that side, and while we talked, they were leery of me reaching out. So here's the thing: I was pretty sure that my birth mom, if she had, I figured that if I had half brothers or half sisters, they probably knew about me because she was forced to give me up for adoption.
She
I figured
was,
on my
yes.
dad's side, if I had half brothers or half sisters, they wouldn't know about me. So I understand why someone was leery when I kind of reached out and was kind of like inquiring about their dad and said this.
Yeah.
But I told them my birth mom's backstory, and it ends up that as soon as I said that, they go, "Well, our mom was um, a secretary at the bank, is at the same bank, and uh, my half brother through them, who I've never met or talked to, was born like 2 years younger than me. So he almost did the same exact thing, almost nearly immediately, but ended up marrying that's, I mean, that's a story that I've heard and kind of thing. So that's kind of my back. And that, of course, I only have it 100% only have heard her side of the story. The only thing that was verified on the father's side was my half sister on that side had confirmed that her mom had the same position my mom claimed at the same bank. Same, so it sounded like the same exact situation. So
Yeah. Like
yeah.
I
So
just like the whole openness of that decade and that and
yeah.
like yeah, I saw that and of course she would have been shunned away as a woman at that time. Don't even
Yep.
get me started there, but like I didn't specifically see like her using drugs or anything, but just like some kind of substance to like deal with the pain of what she was forced to fucking do
Okay.
for a while. Yeah.
Right.
It didn't go so good for her emotionally for a while and you know, of course.
Right.
But yeah. But yeah, I definitely got that she did not make that choice.
Right. Okay.
So,
That's I mean, and that may, I mean, it's cool that you saw that. And then when I had mentioned much earlier in this program that I was adopted, and I mean, you had said that makes sense. So you were glad to, I mean, not that you were glad to see that,
but no, but
it,
like yeah,
but
because
it may,
I
I mean, it went
literally
together. Yeah.
saw
Right.
that like you were put in a different situation to make your
Right.
life better. Like you were put there for a reason. Like yeah,
Right.
it was, and you probably wrote it in your soul contract in your Akashic record, but I didn't. Like I said, I didn't dig that far, but you probably
Right.
wrote it yourself. So yeah, so that you can get to where you need to go. You're like, hey, I
Right.
can't be with this person, so let's get this ball rolling, and yeah.
Right.
So, and then I just end with picture of a raven because that's me and some contact info. But at the end, there's always like, I mean, I know we talked a lot through it, but any other questions that are coming up?
No, no, this was so informative. And I will have you back on the podcast because I would like to talk not necessarily more about, like I say, over the next short period of time, I'm interested to see how these feelings, what kind of legs they have, if I become more inspired, I mean, if I become disinterested in finding out more. So I'm really interested, and then we'll be able to talk about that kind of what my reaction has been because
Yeah,
like I
that would be
said,
cool.
I wasn't. It was never that I was against having a reading. There was no reason that I would have sought it out, and so
Yeah,
I once again, I do believe not everything in our lives, I think, happened for a reason at that moment, but I think there's a reason that you and I met and we had this and we kind of built this relationship. So I'm very
yeah,
appreciative of
for
you
sure.
doing this and making the offer. It's been an awesome time. Thank you very much.
Like as soon as I started it, I was like, "Whoa, this is gonna be big!" Like I was like super stoked. I'm like, "All right." I like
Right.
the ones that take me off planet because those ones are so much more fun. But I get
Well, that's
clients that
awesome.
keep me on planet. I'm like, okay, I can groove with this, but
Right.
it's yeah.
Right.
So thank you. That was awesome fun.
You're okay. It was.
So I'm gonna post this on YouTube, and
Okay.
you'll have the links and everything, and then just reach out to me. Then
Okay. I
everybody
will.
watching here, everything on my stuff is just Psychic Empath Raven Willow. Add a .com to that. That's my website. It's Instagram. It's TikTok. It's YouTube. You can plug your stuff if you want to, Rodney.
The Stone Genius podcast. So if they follow you, they'll follow you over to the podcast. So you've been on once. I hope to have you again on soon. So thank you so much for doing this. It's been an amazing time. I really appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Okay, talk to you later. Bye.